At 8 years old, I was diagnosed with asthma, which is an obstructive lung disease. There is constant inflammation in the airways, making them hyper-responsive to triggers. My trigger is exercise. Exercise stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, so it should create vasodilation and bronchodilation. Unfortunately, in asthmatics, there are three responses. So one is more inflammation, one is bronchoconstriction, and the third is actually increased mucus secretion. So you can see with all those three things, it makes it very hard to breathe. It usually presents for me, depending on the degree of the attack, is shortness of breath, wheezing, coughing, feels like I have a weight on my chest. It's hard to breathe in or exhale. Because of that, I always thought that it was breathing air in that was the problem for asthmatics, and it's actually not. It's a decrease in expiratory effectiveness. So what happens is, if this is a healthy lung and this is an asthmatic's lung, they're about the same size, right? So an asthmatic can't expire fully. So I felt like I just exhaled everything I could. Now I took air in. Now what happens? My lung is hyperinflated. So essentially what's happening is there's a CO2 buildup. So because of the CO2 buildup in my system, now the oxygen is not getting down to my tissues. When this goes on for a long enough amount of time, it can actually cause someone to pass out, which I've done. I did it at 12 in gym class, running 2 miles, wanted to make a really good time, didn't care about my asthma, I'm almost there. I was lucky because if it went any further, it can actually cause death. What I do to help now, I have a rescue inhaler. It is classified as a rescue inhaler because it is short and fast acting. It is albuterol sulfate, fine mist powder inhaled into my lungs, starts acting within a few minutes. Beta-2 receptor agonist. So it's going to target the beta-2 receptors in my lungs, create bronchodilation. Unfortunately, it also stimulates the beta-1 receptors in my heart, so I have an increased heart rate, in addition to tremors in my hands. Another thing about asthmatics, typically have weak diaphragms, so they use accessory muscles to help with normal inspiration and expiration. So there are 3 different breathing exercises. I'm going to post the link in case anybody wants to follow up on it and doesn't want to hear me talk constantly. The first one is diaphragmatic breathing. So this is the one I'm going to demonstrate for you. Use something sturdy. You can use a belt. This is a yoga strap. Just don't use an elastic band, like no booty bands or anything, because that's not going to do a whole lot. So you want to put it around where the diaphragm is, hold it snug. Make sure you're not breathing in through your chest and your shoulders. So you want to try and keep them as still as possible, and you want this to move. That is going to help strengthen. So there's also nasal breathing, pursed lipped breathing. And the biggest thing when you're doing this is your exhale should be twice as long as your inhale. So if your inhale is 2 seconds or 2 counts, your exhale should be 4 counts, because you want to work on pushing all of the air out of the lungs. That is one of the main goals of breathing exercises. Another thing you can do is regular exercise, physical activity, right? It does not, asthma does not make us disabled. So it's going to increase lung capacity, reduce inflammation. It would be great if it reduced inflation. It's going to increase overall lung health. You're going to strengthen your muscles so that your body doesn't have to work as hard overall. Cardiovascular fitness, so your heart condition is going to improve, which is going to improve blood flow and oxygen delivery. Your endurance and stamina is going to go up. The more that you consume oxygen, the more efficiently your body is going to know how to use it. So short burst activities, walking, swimming, yoga, dancing, short distance run in warm, moist environments. Dry and cold is bad. Thank you.